Hey, I'm Andy Powers, master guitar designer here at Taylor Guitars, and I've got one of our new 614 models out of the new redesigned 600 series. Now, a lot of you might be familiar with our 800 series that we've redesigned and rebuilt, and in a lot of ways, this guitar is one that I'm even more excited about, because this instrument is a guitar that, well, I think this will change some opinions. Because lots of guitar players, myself included, we don't necessarily like maple flat top guitars. You know, they have this reputation, the stigma of being too bright, too thin, too something. It's like the most kind thing you could say is, well, it makes a good stage guitar, or it amplifies well. That's not fair. Maple has this, it's a centuries-old tradition and a heritage of being the wood of choice for the back and sides of string instruments. The violin family, mandolins, archtop guitars even, all these things, they insist on maple. But flat top guitars, as builders, traditionally what we've done is we would take a guitar that we had designed for rosewood or for mahogany. Take the rosewood or the mahogany off, put maple in its place, and you've got a maple guitar. And then we complain that, well, it's too bright. Well, of course it's too bright. Maple doesn't work in the same way that rosewood does. It's a different kind of personality altogether. And so when I redesigned these guitars, I wanted to build a flat top guitar that featured maple's unique personality, but put it into a context of the type of instrument I'd want to play. Something that's rich and dynamic, has good sustain, it still features maple's balance. So a lot of significant changes have gone into these guitars, most notably in the bracing, in the actual structure of the instrument, especially on the back. You notice that on most of these models, the bracing doesn't even extend all the way to the rim of the instrument. I've designed it so that the back of the guitar is working a lot more like an archtop guitar, or even a violin if you were to delete the sound post, or mandolin, something like that. So there's some pretty solid changes that come about just by altering the structure. And then I've incorporated some of the other refinements that we have been using on our new 800 series. Ultra thin finish, protein glues, every material component, the top, the back, everything being thickness just right for what that material and what the design demands. And you might ask, why bother? Why bother making more maple guitars? And why not just build more rosewood guitars? Well, I love East Indian rosewood. I love mahogany. I like building those guitars, but really, we're going to need to build some more maple guitars. Aside from my own love of working with that wood, maple is the overlooked gem of the tone wood world. It has this centuries-long tradition of already being used, and in a lot of ways being misused when it comes to flat top guitars. Yet those forests, the forests that maple are being harvested in, those are well managed. Those are completely sustainably harvested. And we've been working with Steve McMinn, one of our favorite suppliers. He's cut almost all of the spruce for our guitars for the last 30 some years. He's undergoing projects to propagate guitar-specific maple trees, and doing some fascinating research and work in that field. So as a guitar builder, I think, great, I'm going to still get to build guitars out of wood 20 years from now. Chances are it's going to be maple. So let's start. So this is in a lot of ways, a guitar that we're very proud of. We're pleased with the result, and we're even more excited about the future, because this marks the kind of the beginning of where we hope to go as a company of guitar makers. assembling here, this is a 614 model, and throughout the course of this next year, all of our body shapes within the 600 line will be introduced as we've redesigned all of them. So the 618, the Grand Orchestra, the Grand Symphony, the Grand Auditorium, all the way down to our Grand Concert models. Each guitar has been redesigned according to what that design does best. Now, I don't subscribe to a one-size-fits-all mentality, and I, as a musician, I use different instruments for different purposes. And so I've brought out what I feel is the best attributes of each of those designs. So in something like this, that's sort of the, call it the middle of the size, is, you know, being a grand auditorium. In a way, it's the most broad-reaching of those designs. Has a real powerful, rich warmth that is simultaneously very delicate and articulate if the musician brings that sort of approach to the instrument. So each one of these designs has some features that we had originally developed with our 800 series. The ultra thin 3.5 thousandth of an inch thick, 3.5 mil thick finish, with the addition of a very traditional hand-applied and burnished stain. So these ultra-thin finished guitars, there's a certain liveliness that you're going to get out of that response. They're assembled using a traditional protein-based glue, completely different bracing pattern that's unique to each particular body size. New appointments, aesthetic details, ebony binding, grained ivoroid purfling, and fingerboard inlays, even an ebony backstrap on the back of the headstock. As well, all of them feature our new Expression System 2 electronics. The pickup in these guitars is the most usable, most versatile sounding pickup that I know of on the market. So these instruments are really something that a professional musician can appreciate, even a concert level musician. You know, it's something really unique that we're very proud of. Yeah, these are fun to me because it's such a reflective guitar.
Right.
This really is one of the most reflective types of instrument I could think of. Because if a player plays it warmly, it'll be warm. If you play it bright, it'll be bright. You play it with a heavy hand, it'll respond to that. Every sort of part of this guitar has been designed in a way to reflect what the player does.